What up, YouTube? Sorry I'm so washed out. The sun is right in my face, but it is getting really cloudy. I am in Las Vegas, Nevada. I am here until tomorrow. It's early in the afternoon. So, I wanted to give y'all a little bit of an update and answer this one question that I get asked quite often. It's usually by the females. So, while I will be addressing, these are, as with every video, the things that I say are my personal experience and my personal opinions. So I think in the description I'm going to put results may vary. This is not a one-size-fits-all kind of thing at all. Trucking is case-by-case scenario. Not anybody can do this job. You have to have the mindset and really know what you're coming in here with. And I'm not too proud to say that when I got on my first Mentor's truck, I had my mindset, but our minds weren't syncing together, and there was just a lot of things that I could have done different, some things that he could have done different, and, you know, it is what it is. And I think that after listening to, 100+ people having mentor issues, that, sometimes there has to be give and take on both sides. Not all mentors are doing everything right, because what is right anyways in trucking? The whole point of trucking is to figure out what works for you. So what works for you is not a cookie cutter, that's going to work for everybody else. That's just not the way trucking works. And so while you can watch a lot of these truckers on YouTube, not just talking about my first mentor, a lot of them will say, this is what you need to do. This is, tried and true and blah, blah, fucking blah. At the end of the day, a lot of them have really good suggestions. Some of them are just fucking batshit crazy, and you can spot those a mile away. But at the end of the day, when you get into your truck and you get behind the wheel and you release your brakes and you put this bitch in drive and you put your foot on the accelerator, you and you alone are responsible for how you operate and navigate this vehicle. How you choose to do that where your life is concerned, like maybe you know a trick to backing that I don't know. Maybe I know some tricks to backing that you don't know. Maybe you found this special way to go this way, or you found this mom and pop place over here, or maybe you heard this noise that I was complaining about one day and somebody told you something. You get the picture. We're all going to have different ways of doing the same one thing. Driving this bitch from point A to point B. So, I wouldn't say that there's a lot of wrong information out there, and I wouldn't say that there's a lot of right information out there. I think, in my opinion, it's just information. You will figure out what parts of the information are good and bad for you as you go through your trucking career and you utilize or don't utilize the information that you pick up from all of us, different people on YouTube, different people that you talk to, different drivers, truckers, instructors, so forth and so on. So, that's the tea with that. The question that I'm going to answer is, I always get asked, they say, you're always talking about all the perks and positives and advantages to being a truck driver. What are they? I will say, this is the 4th time I'm recording this video, because this video is just fucking long every time I do it. So, without spilling too much of my personal business onto this channel, I have struggled with mental health since I was a very young child. I grew up in an eccentric and unique family kind of situation where I was forced to live pretty much like a double life. I couldn't talk about half of my family because they were in the public eye. Most of them still are, the ones that are alive. So I was also very bullied, and I knew that I had this information, and if I could just leak this information, my bullies would actually be fucking kissing the ground that I walked on. But I was just not brought up that way to sell out my family for anything. So my life growing up was very interesting. I was also raised around a lot of abuse, a lot of physical, verbal abuse. My dad was in and out of prison. My mom did crazy shit, both addicted to drugs. I lived a crazy life. I have done things, my siblings, we've all gone through shit. Losing my father was the reason that this way of making money really killed a whole flock of birds, a crow of birds, if you will, with one stone. Trucking being that stone. I was very suicidal. I was very depressed. I couldn't figure out how to even start the grieving process after losing my father the way that we did. Again, if you don't know, he was living with me, helping me get back and forth to chemo. He lived with me the last 2 years of his life. He went to take a nap one day. My son went to wake him up the next morning because it was raining. He needed a ride to school. And my dad was just in this really awkward position on the floor, dead. So, we still live in that same house. We're in the process of getting out of there and trying to move on with our lives. But this just happened October 30th in 2017. So we're coming up on the 2-year anniversary. I had my bariatric surgery on the 1-year anniversary of his passing, in hopes that by some cosmic event that I would just die on the table. And I did quite a few times. This surgery that I had only takes 15 minutes. I was in for hours because my body just, it wasn't strong enough to withstand the surgery. But here I am. I'm half the person that I used to be, and I'm still losing and will continue to lose probably another 60 pounds or so. I have more energy than I know what to do with, and thanks to truck driving, I have gone through all the stages of grief in these trucks. I have shed plenty of tears on these highways. I have punched quite a few roads. I'll say roads. I haven't damaged anything, so it's fine, but I've punched poles, I've punched center blocks, I have left blood across this nation. I have gone through every emotion that I couldn't find in my house, in my room, that had become pretty much a prison. I'd become a prisoner in my own home. So trucking, for me, is very therapeutic. It allowed me to deal with a lot of demons that, were just fucking slapping me in my face every day. Trucking has given me the freedom to not only provide this second income and make the capital, build the capital for this business venture that we have, but my kids have more options. My family has more options. They get to come on the truck with me, whenever they're out of school. So, they'll get to go on and tell their children about riding in the truck like I get to tell my children about when I used to ride with my dad. And the most rewarding thing about trucking for me is I'm very patriotic. Almost everyone in my family that hadn't been to jail, or even my dad was in the Army before he started going to jail. I come from a military background. My daughter right now is serving our country. She's overseas in the Air Force. And my other 2 children want to follow in her lead, and that's great. There is something quite nostalgic about driving through mountains with lakes and trains and trucks and just being a part of the bigger picture. People that don't know a fucking thing about trucking just go to the store, they have their fucking list, and then they go and they're like, oh, I'm just gonna be in and out, and then you go and you know you've gone to the store before and you're like, what? There's no fucking Charmin toilet paper. Why? Where's the factory? Where's this? Where's your manager? I want to speak to your manager. I use toilet paper as a specific example because the first load that I ever took as a solo driver, it was 1,500 miles. Drove from Houston to Laredo. I got all these crazy warnings. This is a high priority load. This is a high volume load. You cannot stop for 200 miles. I had fucking escorts. Like, it was crazy. I was dying to know what the fuck was in this trailer. Like, god dang, man, they really trust me. This is one of my first load. I thought I would start with something small, something local. No. Whatever was in that trailer was fucking high top clearance shit, and it was going all the way to fucking Michigan. So I was like, cool, man, I get this really cool load. Like, as soon as I was able to lose those fucking escorts and pull over and actually fucking go to the restroom and, you know, tend to things, the first thing I did was grab that bill of lading and was like, what the fuck is in this trailer? I was curious. It was fucking toilet paper, man. It was my first load. I felt so special to be, you know, trusted with all of this high priority, high volume, high this, high that. I was like, yes. I really proved myself on my Mentor's truck. It was toilet paper. All the way from Laredo to Michigan. Fucking, what was it? 20-something, 22,000 pounds of toilet paper. That's all that was on there, was toilet paper and the pallets that the toilet paper were on. Going to a Kroger in Michigan. So, when you go to the store and they happen to be out of a particular product, instead of getting crazy and wanting to talk to managers and shit, when they say they don't fucking know, they're telling the truth. The only people that would know where the fuck your toilet paper or your coffee creamer or whatever the fuck it is that you're missing is, they're the people in the receiving department who are probably in communication with the driver's company, and the driver's company has probably communicated with the driver to find out where the fuck all this shit is that these people are having cows about. I've worked retail on that end. I've been from the bagger to the cashier to the department manager to I worked my way into receiving to becoming a night receiving manager. I've done it all, and I worked my way up to the front of customer service and customer service managing, where all these bitches would complain about their dumb shit. I got it to an extent on that end. But now being on this end, and my dad was a truck driver, mind you, and so were my uncles and my grandfather. I never knew what the fuck was in their trailers. I never asked. I didn't fucking know until I worked in customer service and had to start dealing with the receiving trucks and all this stuff and the drivers. Now that I actually do that job, there is something very nostalgic about being a part of the bigger picture of how things get around the world and get into the stores that we like and spend our money on so much. When you have nothing but time, you think about a lot of crazy things. But one thing that you can't help but think about is how us as consumers and as employees, how our money circulates. You can literally, as a truck driver, you can literally just watch your money travel the whole country. And it travels the country via the products in every single one of these trailers. And to be a part of that and be able to watch a train go by with a plane flying over, or, you know, if you're in Houston, you can actually drive over the port, have planes flying over you, trains on the side, barges coming in, and truck drivers taking those cargo tanks. You can see all of it on 610 North. I mean, you can just sit there at the ship channel and watch everything. When you get to see God's creations and humankind interacting in such a beautiful way, and know that you just get paid to do this, it makes this truck seem this big. And what this truck really does infinitely large. And I know that you're going to say that that sounds like the corniest shit you've ever heard. It's the truth. When I hear the national anthem, I actually tear up. I get emotional because that means something to me. Fuck, just talking about it, my voice changed. That national anthem means something to me, and it cuts deep. It's who I am. And I don't think that there's anything more American than transporting American goods to American people. To me, that is the most rewarding part of this job, is just being a part of keeping America great. Simply put. So, out here I have freedom. I've started writing again. I had put writing away for a long time. I love writing. I have worked on my business plan. I have grieved the loss of my father. He's tattooed on my arm, and he's out here with me and shows me every day that he is with me on these roads, in this crazy climate that we go through, in my passenger seat, wherever I am, he's there. Along with all the other 50 people that I've lost in my family over the past few years. You know, the biggest thing that I can say that I will always be grateful to trucking for is that it gave me a different perspective and outlook on life, because mine is always in danger. I spent so many years of my life trying to figure out how to take my life and not have my kids resent me, not have my husband resent me, not have my mom crying for the rest of her life. I've always been that compassionate of a person that, you know, even doing something as selfish as taking my own life, I had to think about everybody else's feelings first. And honestly, that's what kept me alive. But trucking has made me thankful for my life and everything that I've gone through. I don't think that I would be, a fourth of the person that I am if it wasn't for all the things, the good, the bad, and the ugly that I've gone through. And trucking has put a lot of that into perspective. So while I can't put on a list simple things that trucking has done for me, I guess I could say cliche things like, well, I make really good money doing what I'm doing. I don't have to deal with people, which is great. I don't have customers screaming in my face. The freedom is great. The privacy is great. I like being alone because I've been surrounded by people my whole life and then forced to kind of lie about who I was for half of my family and for most of my life. I can't talk about most of my life. In this truck, all of that baggage that I carry, I can't bring it on the truck with me. So this is the most freeing place in my life. And because I let it all out here in this little box, the time that I do get to go home is so fucking precious. Precious. Let's see if I can talk. I'm trying not to cry. That it makes the time away that much more meaningful. Some people might say, oh, well, you left your family and your kids. I've seen it. It's in one of these comments. You were such an achieved person and now you go trucking at 40 years old. Well, to you, I say, go fuck yourself. And you don't know me by watching me on YouTube, okay? My husband, whom I've been married to for 17 years, we've been together for 18 years, he still doesn't know me. I only allow people to see what I want you to see, and I think that everybody is that way to an extent. But to make such a broad statement about somebody you watch 20 minutes every other day or so is just fucking retarded. And I hope that you're not trying to get into trucking because you're not gonna fucking make it with an attitude like that. Hell, I'm surprised that I made it because I came into trucking. I was just always a person who carried a huge chip on my shoulder, and I'm okay with admitting that. I've always been, even though I'm Hispanic and I'm covered in tattoos and I grew up in this crazy lifestyle. I mean, I live in Kingwood, Texas, snobby suburban area with, my kids in their special schools and driving special cars, and that's just the life that I always thought that I needed to have, so that my kids could have better. And I'm not too proud to admit that, I can be a snob, and I do like finer things in life. I should say I did. Being in this truck, I'm perfectly fine. When I go home, I pack my shit in a fucking backpack and I go home, and it's kind of weird having so many things and so much space that when I am home, I just want to I literally make them get up out of bed, we get in the car and we go do things together, because all of the shit that I have accumulated over the years to make these little people happy, that's the shit that doesn't fucking matter. What matters is the memories, the photographs that they keep up here once I'm long gone past into the next life. It's the time that I should have been spending with them whenever I was at home. When I was home, I was miserable. I was on bed rest. I was sick. I was medicated. I was depressed. I was suicidal. I'm none of those things anymore. And while I can't live in the past and I can't go back and change those things, trucking affords me the ability to make the time that I have with my family now that much more memorable and meaningful. And that is fucking priceless. I would drive the truck for fucking free just for that aspect of it. People need to find some way of finding their solitude in life and just kind of breaking away from everything that you know and love and just really getting in tune with yourself. And trucking did that for me. So I hope that this video wasn't too much rambling. I probably let y'all know a little bit more about me than I cared to, but it is what it is. It's a loaded question. What rewarding things has trucking offered me? Life. Life is the first word that comes to mind. And you can't put a price on life. Regardless of what any hitman will tell you, you cannot actually put a price on your life. And that is what trucking has given to me. So I don't think that there needs to be any other reason. While I've listed plenty, at the end of the day, I'm just a better person overall because of it. And I'm a better wife, I'm a better mother, I'm a better friend, I'm a better advocate. I'm just an all-around better person. And I don't think that, Swift itself had anything to do with that as a company, because everything I did happened in this truck. It is the aspects of truck driving, really. So I'm not saying that if you need to find yourself, you have to come work at Swift. I don't promote Swift that way. I just happen to drive for Swift. You find whatever company works for you, and you do you. Maybe trucking is not for you, but if you can find a job that offers you these things that are going to be life-changing for you, you fucking take it and you don't look back and you don't have any fucking regrets. So that's my message for today. I am going to get out of this truck and not get into any shit. Vegas is what Vegas is. I'm 40 years old. I've been there, done that. I partied straight for 2 years of my life. Cancer at the age of 28 will do that to you, so that'll fuck your world up. But I actually just want to go take a shower and get some food. I really don't feel like cooking. Y'all made me be a little emotional. I don't really care to show my emotions to the people. But no, y'all ask questions, and I always say if you ask the question, I'm going to answer it. So I can't answer a question without being truthful and just what are the rewarding things about trucking that I'm always talking about. That's just such a loaded question. I just truthfully couldn't answer it without getting emotional. The things that are rewarding, like, touch my soul. So I hope that answers your question. And again, keep your questions coming, your comments, the love, the hate. I love it all the same. But I'm gonna peace out this bitch. I'm running recaps, by the way, this week, if y'all haven't figured out. I was like, I'm just running back to back to back to back to back, but I have these long breaks in between, and I'm like, well, the miles are the same, so it doesn't matter. But I can say, now that I'm, doing this whole recap thing and I'm not resetting, I prefer the reset schedule, to be honest with you. I'm not a person that does really good with idle time. I like running 11 hours. Shit, shower, shave, eat, sleep. Get up, do it again. This whole driving 6 to 8 hours and just having all this fucking time to yourself, like, I mean, granted, I'm riding again now, so I mean, I got stuff to fill up my time, but I would much rather be on the road. So while I'm quite thankful for my miles, as always, if I had to choose, I would rather run like a crazy person and just reset 34 hours at one time. But I mean, this works. It's something. It's different. It's not for me. I'm finding different things to fill up my time, but still running those miles. So that's all that matters at the end of the day. But I love you all. Again, sorry I wasted all your time. Hopefully you got something out of that. I tried to answer the question. This is the shortest video I made out of the 4. So I'm going to upload this one and call it a day, and I'll check in with y'all in a couple of days. Peace out, y'all. Be safe.